classic example that is being used to illustrate the concept of what a fraction is. And that is always to make use of a pizza, because a pizza is considered a nice round circle, and what we can do with this pizza is to divide it in a certain number of parts. So let's say we divide it right through the middle, then we would have two equal parts of this pizza or of this circle. Now those two equal parts can be written as a fraction because it is no longer the whole of the pizza. It's a smaller portion of the original whole pizza. And what we do to write the fraction is we have a concept known as a denominator and above the line a numerator. So let's just write those two words out. It's the numerator and the denominator. Now the denominator tells us into how many parts we have divided the pizza. So in this case we have divided it into two parts, and then the numerator tells us how many of those parts we eat or we work with. So if we take just this one part of the pizza, we have then eaten one of the two, and then we write it as a fraction. 1 in the numerator, 2 below the line in the denominator. So that then is a fraction. 1 over 2, or 1 out of a possible 2. If we were to take this pizza and divide it into 4 parts, like that. So now we cut the 2 halves into half again. So then we have a total of 4 parts, and we take just, say, that one part of the pizza and we eat that. Then in terms of the fractions, we will write it as 4 below the line, because we have now divided the fraction into 4 parts, and we have eaten 1 of the 4 parts. If we were to take 2 of those 4 parts and eat that, then we would say we've eaten 2 out of the potential 4, or the possible 4 parts. The 4 again below the line tells us into how many pieces that we divide the original whole pizza. That's a very important concept. The denominator tells you into how many pieces you have divided the pizza, and the numerator tells you how many of those pieces are you working with. Or in terms of the pizza, how many of those pieces that you have cut your pizza into are you actually eating. That's the numerator, the number above the line. And you need to understand the difference between them, and you need to understand exactly what the denominator tells you in terms of how many parts you've eaten. Because if you look at this now, we've taken 2 of the 4 pieces that we've eaten, but that is actually the same as that. Just look at that very carefully. We have taken that, which is 1/2 of the pizza. And it was the same as if we only divided the pizza into 2 parts originally, and we've eaten 1 of those 2 parts. So this then gives rise to a concept known as equivalent fractions, which you will learn about later on. But an equivalent fraction is a fraction which is written in a different way, but it has the same value. Half a pizza is half a pizza, whether it consists of 2 quarters of a pizza, 2 of those, or just 1/2, it still remains 1/2 of the pizza. And this will then again give rise to a couple more techniques in fractions that you will get to know and that you will learn to use when working with fractions. So you really need to understand the numerator and denominator and what their respective roles are in fractions, so that you can then progress to more difficult questions and more complex techniques.